Hope you're doing good. Micah back with another video. Back here with a new phone. Y'all thought I was playing. The Galaxy A36, for me personally, was getting on my nerves so bad. And even today, in and of itself, was just like one of the most prime perfect examples of that phone getting on my nerves. And really kind of ending my experience with it was the amount of lag and borderline freezing the phone was doing with the most mundane of activities on the device. I mean, it was ridiculous. So I will be selling that phone. Hey, look, maybe it just took a reset, a hard reset. I don't know. I wasn't going to do that. Maybe it's my device personally. I hope that's not the case. But, and I don't think it is because in the comment section on my last video, I saw people talk about like the benchmarks and how the A36 seems like it's way more toned down or underclocked or underperforming than that of even the A35. And I think somebody said the A26, like the little brother to the next little brother. Like it's so weird what Samsung was doing with the A36. So mine, I'm gonna be selling it to recoup some of my money back so I could pour back into the channel here. But I had a blessing and opportunity to fall in my lap with this device here, and as you guys can see, it is a Samsung device, but it's a Samsung device that's a little older. And by looking at the back, this looks like 2022, doesn't it? 2021, 2022. This is the Samsung Galaxy A53. Shout out to the Thomases for supporting. Really, this was by happenstance. I wasn't even expecting this, and so shout out to the support of them. They're great people, great family in that way. But yes, the only physical kind of cosmetic, it's not even cosmetic, kind of physical kind of, you know, discrepancy is the power button is slightly mushy. But look at that. I press the power button, it cut on. I hit the fingerprint sensor, I'm in. Just like that. Now that was just a little bit there laggy, right? But other than that, I've been rocking this phone with no SIM in it up until today for like the last 3 days. Has been immaculate. And then when I popped the SIM in, of course, my battery life dropped like crazy on it. But it's because it had been alive off of one charge for like the last 3, 4 days. So now that the SIM's in it, it's getting used to network activity again. We're going to see what happens with battery life. And this is going to be a journey that we talk about over the course of this channel. But the Samsung Galaxy A53 is miles ahead of the A36. And this phone came out in 2022. This has a 1080p by 2400 or 1080 by 2400 AMOLED display. So you're getting full HD plus 120 hertz refresh rate with the display. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this phone cost around $400 to $450 back in 2022. You can argue maybe even 500 maybe at the time. So a mid-range device as opposed to the more, I guess, budget just below mid-range, because this came in at 400. It was on sale. Got it for 350, 375 after taxes. But this mid budget device in 2025, you would think would perform evenly, right? On par with a phone from that of 2022, and that just has not been the case for me. Even when the way the cameras load in, being able to use this device has been way more smooth of experience. If I swipe over, not much lag there. Now I'm good to scroll through here. If I swipe back and I swipe back again, you see it loads just fine here. Some things that I have to get used to is this phone is on Android 15 slash One UI 6.1, but One UI 7 will be here June 2025 for the Samsung Galaxy A53, so it'll be right around the corner. And I haven't really missed too much. I do miss my vertical app drawer. I mean, I'm used to this still, but I miss my vertical app drawer. And I miss the separation of notification panel with the quick grid. So those are some of the small things I miss, and the DIY home up feature with One UI 7 and Good Lock, being able to customize my clock and weather all in one place. If you guys see on here, I use DIY, and I'll probably bring that up in another video. You see, I just pressed the power button. You see how long that took? So if we actually look at this, just goodness gracious. Now, as you guys can see here, now I moved my time up there, but I have two different widgets right there, and with One UI with the DIY. You see, I could do that right there, which I could bring it all the way down there and put it anywhere on the screen. I can even diagonal it if I want it, or angle it, if you will, with One UI 7 and the A36. And again, really, this phone is inconsistent at best, and that's what I'm going to name my next video for the A36. Inconsistent at best. The A53, however, is where it's at, and this what gets me very excited about wanting to use the A56, because I think the A56 is going to be that much better. This phone has a Snapdragon 6 Gen 3, the A36, and that's probably the part of the problem, because it's so underclocked, probably, or just not strong enough. Like, just the processor power not there, I think, because One UI is much lighter than you think. And I think the processor is the problem in the case and not the software. The Galaxy A53 has the Exynos 1280 processor. This is my first time with an Exynos processor, and I like the fact that it feels like it's very weird how I can notice the difference between the Snapdragon. I can notice the difference with the Google Tensor chip. I can notice the difference with Apple Silicon in an iPhone and the Snapdragon processor, even if it's made for the Galaxy platform. The Exynos 1280 at mid-range feels like it belongs in this device. It's symbiotic, if you will, and that's really how it should be. I think Samsung should make their own processors for their devices, much like Apple makes their own processors for their devices, much like Google has honed in their own processors for their devices. When you control all of that in-house, everything moves so much more smoothly. So I would love to see a true flagship processor from Samsung with the Exynos chips in a proper flagship device, and see how that actually goes, because I think Samsung could win there. I mean, they are a semiconductor company as well. They make their own chips. They make a lot of ICs. So it's like, do that, Samsung. Like, have confidence, build that confidence and that momentum with your own chip set. And I think they can do that, because at the mid-range with this, with the Exynos 1280, I'm enjoying my experience right now. I'm enjoying my experience with the Galaxy A53, and this is a 3-year-old phone. This phone actually made me want to grab the S22 Ultra again, mainly because I also love the body of the S22 Ultra. I learned and got good with palm rejection and used Good Lock to avoid additional mishaps with touching the screen. But that phone felt very good in the hands. This phone isn't rounded and curved like that one, but at 6.5 inches for the Galaxy A53, I prefer this size also over what feels to be a very bigger and essentially wider phone with the Galaxy A36. Having this phone in hand, I think 6.5 is really great. Really, to me personally, they could have shrunk it to 6.3, 6.4. I'm much more of a smaller phone person, despite loving the Ultra phones, the Plus model phones, but the sizing just gets on my nerves. That's why the Fold worked for me, because it's a smaller profile overall, slips in your pocket, and that's why I would love to go back to the Flip series because of its smaller footprint. So for me, rocking this phone at 6.5 inches is absolutely lovely, and I really have been enjoying this experience. As you guys see here, I'm just kind of touching the phone a little bit, nothing going on, and you see how fast everything responds with no issues. Like, it's beautiful. Now, one of the weird things is this phone is not on the May, well, no, I guess no phone's really on the May Google Play System update yet. So if we check here, you'll see it's still April 1st, but it does have the May 1st security update. Very strange, right? If we put the A53 down and we check the A36 and we come into settings and we scroll down here to security and privacy, you see that I clicked in how long it took to load? The A36, as an unlocked phone as well, is still on April 1st security patch, despite that 1 GB update for Google Gemini. This phone is still on the April 1st security patch with the April 1st Google Play System update. So this phone came out this year, 2025, and is behind in software updates, despite having One UI 7. And this phone that does not have One UI 7 yet is more up to date from a security standpoint. Again, how Samsung prioritizes the devices will always blow my mind, but it's good to see that this phone also relatively lightweight. I like that. If I double tap the camera, you see how fast that loads in? Not slow at all. Not slow at all. Look at that. Look at Count Dooku over there. What's up, Count? Come on now. Come on, camera. Look at that. Look at that guy over there. All right, let's check it out here real quick. Now, this is where you notice just a little bit of lag. But okay, wow. It definitely processed it. Look at the detail though. It's not bad at all. The detail is actually pretty good. It's handling kind of like that. I don't want to say dynamic lighting, but it's handling it relatively well. Now, it's looking more red on the phone, but in person it's a little bit more kind of, it's got like a more of a pink, like a hot pinkish hue. But on the phone it's coming in as red. So that's a little interesting there. I don't know if it's just because of the gamut, the color gamut that Samsung is using overall for their contrast with their phones. But that's not a bad picture right there. And then of course you got the Bo-Katan headpiece right there. I forgot the number of it, but that's nice right there, and the detail looks pretty clean. You can see the attention to detail, the clarity in terms of what the actual headpiece is sitting on. You can actually see it, identify. You can read the words. You can zoom in and actually still read the words. Like very, very, very sharp. I like that. So again, cameras pretty decent. I can't tell you what they are off the top of my head because I didn't look that up. Maybe I'll look it up in my next video. But for my first impressions for an older device with the A53, knowing that One UI 7 is right around the corner, I am way more happy and back to happy land with the A53 over the A36. Now, I think the A36, my device in particular, I don't think it's nothing wrong with the device. I just think that either A, something could have potentially went wrong when I transferred my stuff over, but nothing happened with this device. Or I may be just slightly that much more of a power user than I gave my own self credit for, and this would suit somebody else a whole lot better than me. And so that's something that I had to humbly accept and moved on over to the A53 until I can get my hands on another Samsung Galaxy product, be it the Galaxy S25 Edge, another Flip, another Fold, an older Samsung device. Who knows? We're going to find out in the near future for sure. But let me know down in the comment section below you guys' thoughts on the A53, on the A36, Samsung devices in general. Should Samsung actually put more emphasis and effort into their own in-house chipset with the Exynos? The comment section is open for discussion. Again, as always, if you guys haven't already, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, notification bells, all free. That way you notice our videos. So you and I can sit back, check, see who's cracking. And don't forget to hit that super things button down there by the like and dislike button, Cash App or PayPal, and check the channel out for all the videos available to you. That's where they keep tech fresh and alive on this channel. It's your man Micah signing out, and until the next video, wait for it.